Day 8 of the Diddy trial didn't end quietly. It erupted. Prosecutors played a recording that no one expected, the last known audio of Prince, buried deep in sealed files, almost lost forever. The courtroom froze. Reporters stopped writing. Diddy's entire legal team, Mark Agnifilo, Tenny Geragos, Brian Steele, looked like they'd just watched a ghost walk in. No one was ready for what this audio revealed. What started as a trial about power and abuse was about to expose an entire system, one recording at a time, from leaked audio to classified testimony, even arson. This week, the silence shattered. The first Diddy party I attended, it wasn't at some random club. It was inside Prince's house. Tyrese on stage, Demi Moore and Ashton Kutcher, swinging, on literal swings. This wasn't a party, it was an empire of illusion. And here's what made it different. Diddy didn't allow any personal security inside. Only his security, even when I showed up with my team. They were turned away at the door. Inside that mansion, Jay-Z, TD, Jakes. Every face you'd expect to avoid each other. All there. No guards, just eyes watching you. I kept wondering, why was Diddy the only one who wanted full control? Diddy hosted what insiders now call a freak-off at Prince's home. But Prince himself, nowhere to be seen. He wasn't absent by accident. He stayed far away because he knew exactly who Diddy really was. Prince flipped the script. He planted hidden cameras across his own estate. He recorded everything. He wasn't just preparing to expose a man, he was preparing to confront an entire industry. That was the risk, and Prince was ready to take it. This Thursday, the prosecutors dropped the bomb. They played the audio. Prince's gangster voice, calm, controlled, but shaking with quiet urgency, outlined everything he knew. He described specific payments, $2 million here, $1.3 million there. They matched the prosecution's earlier evidence perfectly. "I've seen the payments," Prince said. "I've seen the NDAs they signed." This wasn't gossip. It was a surgical indictment out of power, protection, and perversion. Then his voice dropped. "I'm recording this because I'm afraid to speak out. The system protects men like him. And if anything happens to me, make sure this gets to the right people. This isn't just about protecting me, it's about protecting everyone who's still afraid to speak." That final line left the courtroom in a trance. It wasn't just testimony. It was a warning from beyond the grave. Diddy didn't just eliminate competition, he eliminated resistance. And for anyone who's ever lived in that world, you know exactly what that means. Diddy didn't need the money. That wasn't the point. He demanded $20,000 from Cassie's mother. Not for profit, but for power. To humiliate her. To break a family down to its knees. To send one message: you are not safe. Not even your mother can save you. Cassie's mom testified in court, her voice trembling, her words clear. She said she took out a loan just to keep a sex tape involving her daughter from being released. Imagine that. Imagine being a mother and having to buy your child's dignity back. And suddenly, the courtroom wasn't just watching a trial, they were witnessing trauma through the eyes of a parent. This testimony shattered the defense's strategy. They tried painting Cassie as a willing participant, but now a mother stood there, raw, honest, terrified. "I had to pay Diddy to protect my daughter," she said. And in that moment, no jury member could look away. You don't do that if your daughter's just dating someone. You do that if your daughter's in a prison with no bars, only threats. And that's what this trial is really revealing. Not just abuse, control, isolation, ritualized humiliation, designed to destroy resistance. Cassie didn't just suffer in private, she screamed in front of others. And no one moved. At one party, she begged someone to help. No one came. George Kaplan, Diddy's former executive assistant, testified to what he saw on a private jet. Diddy holding a rocks glass. Cassie hunched over, shielding herself. "Isn't anyone seeing this?" she cried. George saw everything. He heard glass shatter. He saw Ventura scream. He said he left the industry not out of disgust, but exhaustion. He couldn't hide the violence anymore. Cassie wasn't the only one. Another woman, Gina Julie, became a name in court as her story echoed through testimonies. Thrown apples, covered faces. Another witness. Another piece of the puzzle. Dr. Dawn Hughes, a forensic psychologist, took the stand next. She didn't evaluate Cassie. She didn't need to. Her job was to explain why women stay, why they don't scream louder, why they return to the same monsters. She described the invisible cage, how it's built over time, how trauma isn't always obvious, how manipulation replaces freedom, but Diddy's team tried to tear her down. They cross-examined her hard, questioned her pay, her background, her credibility. They even brought up Diddy's bipolar disorder, the first time it had been mentioned. And yes, they said that's how he got the nickname Puffy. But no one was laughing, because the jury had already seen the footage. Cassie being bitten, brutalized. Bipolar disorder doesn't excuse what that camera caught. Guns, drugs, chains, baby oil, and all of it in the same room. AR-15 rifles, stacked next to lingerie and platform heels, loaded handguns in suitcases beside restraint ropes and pink ketamine packets. This wasn't chaos, this was organized depravity. The prosecution argued this was a system, and Diddy was the architect. One insider testified how Diddy would prepare the hotel rooms. He called it the hotel bag. Inside it, liquor, baby, oil, Astroglide, drugs. The room would be staged, used, and then cleaned spotless. Nothing left behind, not even a rumor. But rumors started anyway. When Cassie tried to escape, when she dared to date Kid Cudi, Diddy allegedly broke into Cudi's house, locked his dog in the bathroom, disabled the cameras, unwrapped family gifts. The next morning, Cudi's Porsche was on fire, Molotov cocktail through the roof, a message delivered in flame. Cudi testified in court. He said he got a call from Cassie. Diddy knows. I gave him your address. I'm scared. He rushed to get her. They hid out at a hotel. Then the call came. Diddy's inside your house, right now. By the time he got there, Diddy was gone. But the damage wasn't. Cameras turned, dog locked away, Christmas gifts opened, and days later, his car burned beyond repair. He told the court, "When I confronted Diddy later, he apologized." What innocent man apologizes for an arson attack? We're not just watching a trial, we're watching the unraveling of a culture. One where power buys silence, where danger wears diamonds, and where witnesses disappear right before they take the stand.
Next up on the stand, after Cassie's mom stepped down, a man who goes by the name, wait for it, The Punisher. The Punisher is an exotic dancer and former sex worker whose real name is Sheree Hayes. Mr. Hayes told the jury that he got his nickname playing basketball, but his photos, they seem to tell a different story for why he may be using that name today. Ooh, kind of safe for work, almost not safe for work. I wouldn't put it up at work, but that's the Punisher, y'all. Mr. Punisher testified that he was hired by Diddy and Cassie for 8 to 12 different times, things like episodes. And he was meant to create a sexy scene that would last for hours. He said that Diddy called all the shots in these episodes. He didn't call them freak-offs, but he described what we've heard as freak-offs. He never saw any cameras, he said. He didn't see any violence. And he said, although Cassie would sometimes wince or sigh at some of the sex directions that came from Diddy, he said it didn't seem as though Cassie was there against her will. Again, this is a prosecution witness, so that's kind of, it's on the fence there. He does certainly corroborate the freak-offs and what happened in the freak-offs, but that whole business about, to him, he wasn't sure if Cassie was into it or not, but he did hear that she winced and that she sighed as Diddy gave a lot of those directions. By the way, the Punisher also said that he never saw Diddy take drugs, never saw that he seemed drunk or high, which is exactly what prosecutors are trying to show, that this was not just an out-of-control, party of an enlisted megastar, but instead was a clear-eyed criminal enterprise.
He called 911. Then he called Diddy. "Why are you in my house?" he asked. Diddy didn't deny it. He just said, "I'm on my way." But when Kid Cudi got home, the house was empty, except for the silence. The surveillance cameras had been twisted away. Christmas gifts, meant for his family, were unwrapped and scattered. And his dog, locked inside the bathroom. No footage, no proof, but the message, clear as fire. Cassie had warned him. "Diddy knows we're dating. I gave him your address. I'm terrified." Kid Cudi took her to a hotel, thinking she'd be safe. But the next morning, his phone rang again. His dog sitter was panicked. "Your car's on fire," she said. In the driveway, a Porsche 911 convertible. When firefighters arrived, they found the evidence. A Molotov cocktail, shattered inside the car, roof cut open, interior burned beyond repair. Cootie documented everything, called in a friend to take pictures. He wasn't just scared now, he was furious. He told the court, "Cassie said Diddy threatened to burn my car." Now it was ash. And when he confronted Diddy, he didn't deny it. He apologized. Let that sink in. There was no arrest, no charges, fingerprints were taken, DNA samples collected, but nothing stuck. Why? Because Diddy has dodged the system. Too many times before. Even behind bars, Cassie still isn't safe. Just days before the trial began, witnesses started vanishing. Literally. In an interview with Piers Morgan, Big Homie CC, a former insider, said, "The closer you get to trial, the stranger things get." He wasn't guessing. He was warning. One of the male sex workers who handed over evidence to the feds? Gone. Disappeared. The pattern was too familiar, just like the Tory Lanez case, where the key bodyguard vanished before testifying. This isn't paranoia. It's a pattern, and it's happening again. The defense isn't sitting idle. They've begun their strategy: clean up Diddy's image, soften the monster. But the public isn't buying it anymore. Not after what they've seen, not after the tapes, the testimonies, the tears. And what about Diddy himself? What kind of man is he beneath the music, the money, the myth? According to Big Homie CC, he's not just violent, he's transformed. Power, MDMA, ego, and deviance, he said. That combination will twist any man. And when it twists a rich one, it doesn't just destroy victims, it rewires reality. What kind of man demands to see another man humiliate his own partner? What kind of mind finds pleasure in control like that? This isn't about celebrity gossip anymore. It's about power, weaponized. As the jury finalizes selection, tension in the courtroom is rising. Opening arguments are approaching, but the prosecution has hit a snag. A key witness has gone missing. She was known as victim number 3. Her identity was to be revealed when she took the stand. But no one can find her. She vanished before ever speaking. How much will this affect the case? That depends. There are still more victims lined up to testify, but the pattern of disappearances continues. One less voice. One more unanswered question. Even a juror has now asked to be removed, citing personal well-being. The weight of the truth is starting to crush more than just the accused, from hidden cameras to silenced witnesses, from missing files to burned cars. This trial isn't just about one man, it's about a machine built on silence, shame, and secrets. But the gears are grinding to a halt, and the truth, it's clawing its way to the surface, one name at a time.